I don't know. Testing. Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you.
Yep.
We can't see you very well, but we can see. There you go.
Am I still spotty? Am I spotting tonight?
You're you're spotting all right.
Am I spotty? All right. Well, I apologize.
Fuzzy.
Straight up first. My internet is sucking tonight, and I don't know why. There's no storms in the area. There it goes, in and out again. I can see it right now. Anyway, we're going to give it a shot, and hopefully we'll get through this hour. Welcome to the Man Cave, everybody. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 2, episode number 12. And once again, it is, what is it, Angelo?
It is pull up your pants.
Be a man Monday. Be a man Monday. You're correct.
Monday. Okay.
And tonight's quote is, don't file for disability. Work until your joints turn to powder. Be a man.
All right.
Waiting in the green room is our special guest, Victor from the Gen Xperience. Matter of fact, I should put you in the green room right now, bro, before I forget. Tonight's YouTube channel plug goes to the Plastic General. I'd like to thank all my subscribers, and 3 of my newest subscribers are Patty Ratty, Paul Macias, and Easton Mallow. Next week, our special guest will be Larry Salmon. Everybody knows him from the artist for all the G.I. Joe newer figures. So looking forward to having him on the show. Well, before I lose my internet, hopefully I can get through the panel introductions. Give me a yes or no. Can you guys still hear me?
We hear you. Your volume's fine. It's just that your picture goes in and out.
Yeah, your audio's holding in, but your video's breaking up.
Well, you don't need to see me. You just need to.
Jimmy, your volume sucks. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm having some problems here too. So,
well, we'll start with the least suckiest guy that has internet tonight. This man enjoys pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, but hey, who doesn't? This is Angelo D'Annabelle. When someone mentions vintage G.I. Joes, this man smiles like a butcher's dog. This is Jim Egnan.
all right.
Yeah.
That's not too far from the truth either.
Yeah.
Well, buy Sam a drink and get his dog one too. Look who's in the room with us tonight. It's Gregorio Salinas.
Oh.
You gotta get a paper bag to wear, and we'll just
Yeah, essentially, right?
You know,
Or just build a fence.
the comic? What was the comic's name? The Unknown Comic,
Yeah, the unknown comic.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
right?
Yep.
With the paper bag.
No, wait for this next one, man. Well, slap my ass and call me Sally. Look who the fourth member of the panel is tonight. It's Mike McCarthy.
Woo! Hey, you know, Sally was a Wordle answer the other day.
Was it?
Sally. You know, and I didn't know that was a military term. Did you know that, Sally?
Oh, big time, yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that. So I'm like, what the hell is Sally? And people were getting all mad saying, why do you have a person's name for it? But I didn't know it was a military term.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Paul?
I did.
You
We
did?
hear it all the time at work.
Yeah, no doubt. What's it mean?
Can't talk about it right now.
Okay. then it's not the right term because it's supposed to be. It's
Mike's,
similar to salvo.
I
Someone
just
said.
met Mike's daughter this past weekend, Atari, and I don't want to.
No,
Oh,
well, I
boy.
thought it had to do like with similar to salvo. That Sally had something to do. So maybe someone out there in the panel in the chat has a clue.
If they know and they can put it up, and I won't
I think
put it.
Paul's got a dirty mind, so his mind goes elsewhere when you talk about terminology, and not
It's
what
just
it
the
truly
military
means.
side of me, bro.
All right.
So, before I lose the internet and before our special guest says screw this, I'm out of here. I want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat room already. Murray Corrigan. Sorry I didn't find that piece for you this weekend, brother. I tried hard. Trust me. Big Boss Jack. Let me tell you, I met him this weekend. Awesome dude. We got to get him on the show. Axis Films. How you doing? Play Scale. As always. How you doing? Action Joe Figs. The usual suspects in the chat room. So Good evening to all. Hope everybody's internet is doing better than mine. I'm going to go around real quick and say what's new in your zoo. Back to Angelo. We're going to start with you, brother. What is new in your zoo? And don't say flocking. Pick anything else but flocking, okay?
Okay. Well, I got a nice package last week from Jim Egner. I know that I mentioned it probably last week, but I've been working on that, so I'm getting back into a little bit of the 1/6 scale stuff. I purchased some items online. They arrived. I'm starting to put a new box set together for the 60th of my production boxes. It'll be a limited run of four box sets with box art, custom box art, a custom flocked figure with a tiger stripe uniform right now that I have, and they'll have some goodies in there, and I'll have a preview of that probably in about a week. I have next week off, so right after Easter I have the week off, so I plan on doing a lot of work on that custom box, getting some pictures done, talking to Jim to figure out how many additional items I need him to produce for me, and go from there. So look forward to that. Hope you are as well.
And you got a box coming in the mail from me.
Woohoo! Oh yes, and I got very excited.
And when I got back home, I realized I forgot to put something in it from Chuck. Chuck gave me something to give you. So
I thought that's what you meant, because Chuck, I was talking to Chuck today. Chuck's going to send me some heads to do some 1mm flock on, and he said he had something special that he gave to you to send to me, and I'm like, oh man, now I'm going to have to make a box set for the AOA.
For the AOA,
so,
I got a couple of those for you to send. So
yeah, so I gotta think about what to do with that. You know, for Gregorio, it'll be easy. It'd just be a giant microphone in front of his face.
Oh,
A little bit of Tough to Flock on the top. I think we'd be all good with that. But yeah, I sent Paul shopping over at Toylanta to get me some things, and because I know Greg Brownie's out there. When you try to purchase from COTS, sometimes the shipping can be a little bit there, Greg. I don't know. You tried to hook me up, but then you started piecing stuff out at Toylanta and almost came to be the same amount of money. You're a smart man. That's why you got that business.
When I gave him that list, he goes, "Oh, I didn't bring that set, but you can pick it out here." I said,
I didn't bring that set, but here are the boots. Here's the shoulder holster. Here's the pistol. Here's the dog tags. So now it's going to cost you twice as much. I said, "You're a smart SOB." I'm busting stones, Greg. Sure. He says he gets on here to watch me get made fun of, so I guess I had to bust his stones a little bit too. That's about it. Up here, 14 inches yesterday, or Sunday, brother. 14 inches of snow.
Wow.
We had Saturday into Sunday, 14 inches. So it's nonstop. Here we thought it was spring. I was going to start raking next week, but nope. Yeah. All right, you can pass me on to somebody else. Come on, am I stuck here or what? I keep talking.
I think we might have lost our host.
I think we lost our host. It's Angelo's show.
You're stuck with me? Holy shit. Well, if you know, there's Big Jim. Good. We got moved on.
All right, we got dodged the bullet on that one. Wow, I don't have near. There we go. Go, Mike.
Quick, talk
there it is. There it is.
It's probably lagging.
Am I still here? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're here now.
Now we can.
We hear you, Paul. You're somewhere.
So what happens is I click the button, and then like 30 seconds later, it finally flips.
Oh man, that's too funny.
Go, Jim. Go.
Okay, all right. We're still going. Not a whole lot to report here. I'm still down 4 printers. I'm waiting on one to come in. Hopefully, it'll be here soon. Working on just trying to stay up, keep my head above water. Working on some special projects for some folks. Let's see. I think I've already showed some of these things off. I think I showed you the bazooka with the removable takedown barrel. I think I showed you all that last time. Redoing the model work on these things. There's some details that I've recently discovered, and so I'm having to retool some of those. Let's see what else. I'm going to give y'all a sneak peek at something, and you probably don't know what it is, but maybe you can guess at it here. So that's something I'm working on for Greg. It's based on a Russian all-terrain vehicle. We'll just leave it at that. So yeah, we'll just,
Are you making the vehicle? Are you making the vehicle?
yeah,
Holy smack.
yeah. So it'll be a lot of fun. That's kind of a sneak peek. It's still in the concept stage at the moment. That's pretty much it, really. I just got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of packages I got to get out. And like I say, my printer production's down a little bit right now because of, having 4 crummy printers that finally just gave up on me. That's all I got, Paul. You better switch while you can.
Okay.
Hey,
So, not much new Joe related. I've been reorganizing my collection, as you can see, but I do want to give a special thank you to Cody, a fantastic customizer in our community and a true pillar in customizing. So he made this top for me as well as some of the accessories. So that's probably the most recent update that I've got going on here. So that's about it.
Right on.
okay. Well, I had an amazing weekend hanging out with Paul. Finally got to meet the legend, Paul Knapp. My daughter, wanted to go to Toylanta. She was really bugging me about it, and it didn't make sense financially, but we just jumped in the car 4 a.m. on Saturday morning and didn't get home till midnight, and had a good time hanging out. Met Chuck, met Paul in real life for the first time. Chuck gave me this AOA dog tag, G.I. Joe scale.
That's the one, Angelo, you should be getting.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, picked up this White Elephant Toys or LaCroix Toys Bullet Man 3 3/4 inch. It's from this line called Strike Force Alpha, kind of like a new spin on G.I. Joe. It's kind of what a lot of the real American hero guys wish that wish Hasbro would do. Got
That
a
was
cool
from White Elephant Toys.
Yeah, well, White Elephant is my camera's probably backwards, but White Elephant sells them on their website. But then I think the guy is LaCroix Toys. I think they're working together, but I think LaCroix's Toys is the one behind it, and White Elephant is just doing like distribution or partial, halfway investing in them. But got a Toy Federation bumper sticker for free. My buddy in the panel here, Gregorio, he sent me a box of some odds and ends because he was spring cleaning, and I'm going to do a video on that here in the next couple days or two. But at the show, I picked up this classic collection mission gear to put on one of the figures that Gregorio sent me. Got this cool Navy SEAL sticker and another "Freedom Isn't Free."
Where'd you get that
US.
from?
Yeah, I got this from Paul. Thank you, Paul. And probably the coolest thing I got this. I paid $35 and I got this Mountie set.
Wow.
When I got home and opened it, it was the less rare Palatoy Action Man set, but that's fine because rarity is a nice bonus, but I don't really go for rarity. So I'm pretty sure it's vintage original Palatoy. And then the paperwork, however, is some kind of vintage Hasbro. It's not, it's not a reproduction. It's dated 1967. Oh, well, actually, okay, it is Palatoy. So, so Palatoy paperwork, vintage paperwork for the Canadian Royal Mounted Police. And I got some other odds and ends, some boots and some flippers, but that's basically what's new in my zoo.
Very cool. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Can you see me now?
We can see
Yes.
you, but you're still a little fuzzy, but I think it's okay.
Well, again, my apologies. It's the internet here tonight in Virginia Beach. Apparently, everybody decided to get it online and have their own YouTube show tonight or something.
American
Scuba
Idol
Pete.
must be on.
Is that what it is? Well, I'm not going to waste my time saying what's new in my zoo because I want to make sure our special guest gets on here and before my internet crashes. And if we have to bring him on a second time, we're going to do that. But we're going to go right to my special guest. And I got a special introduction for him as well. Hopefully I can get him in here. This man is a cornucopia of pulp culture knowledge. He's a plethora of Gen X information. and he has forgotten more about the 80s than I can remember. This is my friend Victor from the Gen Xperience.
Woohoo.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here. I feel like I'm being thrown to the wolves, but I appreciate the invite. So let's see how this goes.
Dude, I just hope my internet stays up. So before I get started with the questions, how did you get started in this thing?
Doing a YouTube channel, getting them started.
I mean,
in
just
that.
because when you go to your channel, it's not just toys, it's not
No.
just movies, it's not
Correct.
just cartoons, it's everything, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
how do
that's
you-
kind of tough. It's pretty broad, right? But I have this thing as I get older, I think back and everybody says the same thing. Oh, my era was better, but it is. And the truth is there were so many great things to love. And as I get older, I miss it more. And the truth is it's where I, was influenced by a lot of things. So I started by drawing. I'm an artist and I have a graphic design site as well. It's called Collection 82 if you want to look that up. But so I started graphic design mashing 80s, 70s, different products up. So I was kind of making these parody graphics. And I started to watch these YouTube channels that we all are aware of. They're all about these kind of documentaries about what we missed from the 80s. What was it like in the 70s? And somebody close to me said, you can do this and you probably could do it better. So I said, okay, let me give it a try. So honestly, I took what I was doing with the art and said, I'm going to go further with this. I want to be able to talk about it because I can talk about it with anybody about anything. You say the subject, let's chat. So why not? So I'm just getting started. I've had the channel for a couple of years, but it really just got the momentum recently. And it is true. Saturday morning cartoons and toys do seem to really get popular. And I love that. But it's a lot more. The Gen Xperience is a whole time about the influential years of someone in Gen X, and that's what it's about. So it will cover a lot of things. Some may not be as popular as other shows, but I don't care. So I'll just keep doing what I do, and part of that is the toys, like you see behind me.
Well, welcome to the Axis of Awesome, as we like to call ourselves. You're now official member, even if you're not just a G.I. Joe collector. It's okay. We'll take you.
I got G.I. Joe.
Who wants to go first? Anybody?
Well, I want to jump in. I want to know how far in advance do you come up with the ideas for the shows or what you're going to showcase during a show? I mean, do you plan it out, monthly, or does it go, oh, you know what? I want to talk about how do you go about figure out what you want to do for a show?
That's great, Angelo. I have a database that's effing freaking huge. It's just huge, right? And it's categorized. It goes cartoon, live action TV show, movie, franchises, toy. So I have all this, and I have it in Excel, and it just goes, here are the topic, here are the ideas, going to the movies. So what happens though is I revisit that every 6 months and I just redo it, because when I pick one and I do a show, depending on how good it went, depending on how many views I got, how many comments were made, I then go back and go, and I just choose right after. So I choose right after the success or the not success of a show prior.
Thank you. Good. Oh, Paul's gone.
Yep.
Well, there you go. I bet you guys can handle this.
Yeah, we
right.
can. There he is. He's back. No,
It's gonna be like that all night. I know it is.
With that, then, Victor, what would you say would be one of the ones that was the most popular and then the least popular? So since you already kind of you were alluding to that with your.
So I had an original name for my channel. It was called PopCon. It was the Pop Culture Connection. Too broad, too kind of crazy. You'll still see old videos on the channel. I kept them there. But as I wanted to define the experience between the early 70s to the early 90s, the influential years of a Gen Xer in that span, I really needed to tone that down. Came up with the Gen Xperience. I was making shows under that, and I knew and I loved them, fantasy movies. The Beastmaster, Conan, I love those films, but I was thinking about the animated ones. And of course, people have done videos on these before, but I wanted to make these videos about animated sword and sorcery. I love that stuff, right? So I just randomly, without thinking, make a show called Sword, Sorcery, and Sex. And I get naked women on the thumbnail, and it blows my mind. Like I have like hundreds of thousands the next day. And I was like, wow, I guess boobs do sell. So I was like, okay, so here it was, and it threw me for a loop. Now, ultimately, YouTube didn't monetize that. Suck. But what I saw was the potential. I then suddenly got my big first step, and that's like 700,000 views on that video. I don't care if it was monetized or not. I really learned something from that. So I've tried to, reproduce in similar vein. So right now, the play sets that I think, Mike, you brought up, that's a huge one. So I'll make other ones on that. I made one about supermodels, thinking again that sex would sell, and it didn't. Now, a lot of times that is because when you go to YouTube, you got to get those tags right. You got to get the hook, and you've got to get the everything in the background done right. So I think it was great content. I think it was a great topic, and it was about the main supermodels of 1990. And I thought, oh yeah, that fits in kind of at the end of my period anyway of growing up in the Gen Xperience. But that didn't do well at all. And so most are hitting good numbers, but when I hit something like I just did practical effects, and again, I didn't see the numbers I wanted. I wasn't sure why. And I still haven't found that exact formula. So I'll always go back to a toy and cartoon. Like this Friday, I got Super 70s Sci-Fi Saturday Morning, and I know that's going to rock. So I just know that.
I think, Mike, you had a question and you had your hand up.
Oh, well, I just got a text from Paul. He said, he's still having tech issues, and for us to just try to, run the show.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me right now or not.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just that you've been zooming in and out, like blacking out and coming back in.
Just pretend I'm not here. Just talk without.
That's all right. That's okay. Victor, while you're saying, and I'm sorry, guys, I'll let you go. I know I do this. I monopolize.
That's right,
so I'm a pain in the butt. Victor, when I was saying, I remember growing up in car shows were really big, and car shows, and then they would have, like Heather Locklear or Heather Thomas, and get a picture with them with the Lamborghini. Sure. And I still have a picture of that, my little chubby self with one of these hot women, and I'm like, oh man. And I have that picture somewhere. I got to find it. But anyway, how would that fit into one of your categories? And how would you find material for that?
Okay. I did recently, it was about a month ago, I did these great movie cars. Iconic movie cars that I'm not even a car guy, but here I am. Look, I like the look of cars, not a gearhead, but I remember, Smokey and the Bandit's car, and I'm not talking the A-Team van. I'm talking cool cars, right? And so I do this whole show on that. What I was missing was a model leaning over the hood, Angelo. That's what I needed to make that good. So it's probably what I missed in the video. But honestly, what happens in my head is like, oh God, there's so many awesome cars in films and TV. So I start to just collect the list. I make a really long list. Then I start striking out. Not cool. That's a repeat. And then I go online and I just start looking. I don't even look at pictures first. I start reading about the car in the film. I don't really care how the car is made. I'd be talking stuff that I wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about if I was to talk what was under the hood. Right. I like sexy, stylish cars, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So I will research about the car. How many were made? Was there a hero car? How many were damaged? Who drove it? What was the special thing about? So I'll just research that in about 3 days and try and collect something. And then I just summarize it in my own flair, because I'm more of a storyteller anyway. I'm not too much of a documentarian. So as my show goes on, you'll notice that I just kind of just talk over my visuals. So yeah, it's definitely a topic I would do. When you talk about the models on the cars, I really missed out that opportunity.
Yeah. All right, I'll let the other guys go before I keep talking.
Sure.
Now, Victor, Paul's channel and is roughly about 12-inch 1/6 scale GI Joes. Also, the 132 scale little soldiers. What are your, and we all collect 12-inch GI Joe. What do you have any experience? Yeah. Do you have any experiences? Maybe you were a little bit too young. Do you have any experiences with like the Adventure Team or the 60s military?
First of all, I just look young because I'm just beautiful, but I am around 50 years old. But so this is what's great. I was born in the middle of Gen X, almost exactly. But what's really fortunate for me, and if any of my family's on, I have 10 siblings. All above me. So having 10 brothers and sisters ending with me, as I grew up, the remnants of G.I. Joe, the remnants of Planet of the Apes, the remnants of Big Jim, who I love his camper, and even those things were in our house, our yard, the basement, and I played with them. And then comes 1977. We called them large size. I said, oh, the large size Luke Skywalker, the large size Han Solo. We didn't call them 12-inch or 1/6 scale at the time. So we got those when they came out. So I got a brother who got Han, a brother that got Luke, my sister got Leia. I got C3PO and Jawa. But anyway, so, but I loved those guys. I did. And obviously there was Barbies in our house. So that 1/6 scale is great. But in that, as the 70s moved on, Star Wars 3 3/4 probably became better price for my parents, for one.
Yeah.
And there were the Micronauts were there. And then anything, the Battlestar Galactica, the Buck Rogers, had them all. So I sort of was like, that's nice and all, but and the Fisher Price Adventure people. So those things all really, the 3 3/4 became my thing, my gig, what the things I like. Now, then in the 80s came the 5-inch, 5.5, and 6-inch, whether that was Masters of the Universe or Transformers. But I did like 3 3/4. But those 1/6 scale, they're wonderful. I mean, I really kind of crave the Bionic Man and Big Jim kind of world. It's nice. And I look at all of the things that were available. It's a nice thing to collect. I do love G.I. Joe, but I went into the 3 3/4 because that's what evolved from those. And I'd already put those aside and said, oh, those are there. This is all now.
Yeah. So it's undeniable how amazing 3 3/4 inch is. I prefer 12-inch, but nobody can deny, that scale 1/18. Angelo is kind of just a few years older than you, and he had an experience where he grew up with the 12-inch Joes, and then he jumped right in from day one with a Real American Hero. So you guys could probably rap about that.
Is that why all those Joes have no heads behind you? I mean, you're like, screw them.
Can you actually see the Joes?
I see headless over, I don't know which shoulder, but there's a headless guy over a pterodactyl. Yeah, I see those.
Oh, this is, I move around. This is upstairs. This is my upstairs man attic. And the man attic has all dioramas in one room. And that's where I was showcasing. That's where I would do the panel from. And now I kind of moved into the closet because I do a lot of my painting in here. It's a little warmer than the workshop. So I've been painting the 1/12 scale heads and any of the flocking. So any of the headless figures you see behind me all go with a head that I'm either in the process of flocking or I still need to flock. And then I
saw those on the spears. I didn't figure they were being tortured. So you're actually customizing and
yeah. So I tried to bring the adventure team
and painting. That's pretty awesome. I've always loved customizers. I do.
I tried to bring the adventure team into. Is it going back and forth?
Everyone was delayed, but I think you're good, Angelo. There's a little Godzilla talking going on. Okay.
Okay. You're here. Everything's good right now. Cause I just wanted to say, I tried to bring the adventure team back into the classic or the classified series of G.I. Joe. With G.I. Joe coming at the 60th anniversary, and the Hasbro did little to nothing. They produced 2 figures for the 1/12 scale. They did nothing for the 12th scale. We talked last week. Daryl the Priest, and he says nothing's going to happen with the 12-inch anymore. They wrote it off. It's all going to be the 1/12 scale. So I'm like, okay, we need to do something. So I found someone who makes vintage style heads, and I started flocking them, putting the fuzz on them, and producing my own. And people are going bananas. And I'm like, there's a market for it. And I just want them out there so people remember what these adventure team figures were. And I'm getting I get a lot of these guys who are younger are like, oh man, that's like Chia Pet Joe. Oh, that's Porcupine Joe. I'm like, you you don't know what it is. You weren't there, brother. You know, that's nostalgia. That is where it's started.
I heard you talking flocking earlier, and I'm like, those fuzz heads were awesome. I mean, Ken's plastic hair was not it. Flocking hair, that was wonderful. And the flocking beard too. Right. So that was awesome. And the adventure team was more when I look at it, I love the adventure team. 70 to 73 or something. There was a big deal. I love the adventure teams. I really do. And as I was doing my last show on the Real American Hero Animals, I threw in that moment in the middle about the vintage Joes. And I really enjoyed looking at the adventure team. So that was a pretty cool time.
It's because they had stories. I mean, they had the military aspect was great when the guys that came out in the 60s, and coming up with the stories by watching all of the films and all the World War II and Korea and everything else. People had that to fall back on to create stories to play with their Joes. But with the adventure team, they went on adventures, and I think it allowed you to really grasp that imagination component and build more stories on that. So I think
100%.
that's why they did so well.
Paul wanted to apologize to the folks in the chat real quick. He's having problems getting those chat postings posted up, so he just wanted to mention that to everybody. So.
Yeah. Now, Victor, I saw on Instagram that you collect classified. You got to get Angela to hook you up with a flocked head.
Yeah, so I am so I just got scrap iron. So I'm a definite collector. I don't know about you. You guys have some huge collections. I have a finite. So I'm one of those collectors that go, there's an end, and the end is 1987. Like I don't pass that. So, what, you too, Angela?
Same. I went
Yeah.
82. I'm sorry, I don't mean I interrupt you, but like when 82, when the 3 3/4 inch came out in 82, I had some of the 70s GI Joes, the fuzz heads, they were great.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of Frank and Joe from my older cousins that I would build back together that were blown up with fireworks. But when 82 came out,
So normal.
I was 13 and I was a little too old to start collecting, but I did because it was GI Joe. And I went up until I graduated till 87, and I had everything. After that, it started to get funky. And I stopped. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but Angela, that was what happened too. Something happened in 87. And I got a friend who's watching. Thomas goes nostalgic. If you've been to his Diorama show, he loves 87 on. I'm like, those neon freaks of G.I. Joe. So
I'll get it.
That.
I know that Chad's out there. They got some great stuff. And I know, man,
Maybe
I don't know. They went neon.
Them, not for me.
Yep.
Sorry, Mike.
No. Well, yeah, that's the thing is it's almost like two different toy lines, and that's kind of the cutoff because they had to do something. Ninja Turtles was coming, and they had to course correct.
Ninjas were everywhere. I mean, ninjas were the 80s.
Yeah,
good point.
Gregorio or Jim, you guys got any questions?
I did have a question, kind of like within the realm of the storytelling aspect of not necessarily just the figures, but the franchises and everything that came out during that generation. Do you believe that was just lightning in a bottle? Because I don't see any other generation coming out with anything new or anything revolutionary like that generation had. Because I noticed a lot of us rely on nostalgia for that kind of collecting and what have you. So I'm kind of curious in your take on that.
Nostalgia is going to be pretty thin in 20 years. So kids today will have it, of course. It's so limited. And as Angela just said a minute ago, we played with toys a little longer. Did we not? We did. So that's not the case anymore. The stories that were being told, and you can look back, and I'll say cheesy, and I say cheesy, and people throw me under the bus in my comments, but cheesy isn't a bad thing. The cartoons, the stories that were being told, they were cheesy, and it's sometimes hard to watch today, but it doesn't mean I don't love it. It doesn't mean I don't watch, and it doesn't mean I don't sit there and get back into that. Lightning in a bottle, Greg, it must have. I do believe it was that whole oh my God, I have a toy line idea. Now I can make marketing. I don't believe anybody who made the cartoons and the comics were trying to sell the thing. They were making good stories. There's some awesome writers in all of those 80s cartoons that were all on all of them. And they wanted to make a good show. Yep, they were told to put things in. For us, it wasn't a commercial. To us, it was an adventure. You will not see that again because it's not that way. It's when tech hit. You see a real downgrade. Younger kids, younger things. These things aren't around anymore. The kids don't have this kind of thing. We're very lucky we did.
We did, and we developed an attachment to our figures. We based on the characters from a lot of those shows. By developing the character, and you go back to the original Star Wars, the Star Wars Empire, the characters. You loved them. You fell in love with them. You really cared about them. When they started all the new stuff, you could care less. And they went too far with all the tech and all the CGI that you lost that human aspect of caring for the characters. And I think that, they developed that even with the storyline with cartoon characters. And then you wanted to have those toys so you can then reenact that story with that character, and they had in Cobra Commander's voice and the way he sounded forever. I will always hear that with his S's, and it was something that was just really, really special that I don't think that we can have again. I mean, Optimus Prime with his voice, you have certain characters.
He was our father. He was everybody's father.
Yes,
he was our dad.
Right.
Greg, to move on into what Angela said, not only did we have the toys to reenact, but I remember playing on the playground those characters, not with my toys. So I could gather in the miniseries, V, Visitors, Alien. I remember playing on a school playground, being the characters in that show.
Right.
Because that's how it affected us. But things are so fast now. If it didn't make it, they don't last. They just so flash in the pan. Doesn't matter what's on next. We had things build, and we had world building. We didn't even know that term, but that was what was happening, and we played onto it. So I think that's part of our experience growing up, and I don't think it's the same. So we're fortunate, and I think that was lightning in a bottle. I just think it's a time stuck. But think about this too. The best stuff came from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a little bit in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah. When they make today, it doesn't last. They're waiting for the next thing to be made. They're just waiting for the next thing. And we are still talking about the stuff from the 70s, 80s. And that's the key. That was a special time. So maybe that is lightning.
Victor, I got a real quick question for you. What do you consider the span of Gen X?
It's a great question. I was hoping someone would ask.
Well, it's you said 70s, 80s, and ends in around 90. But what age people are we talking about here? Who do you call Gen X?
Well, Gen X is anyone born between 65 and 80. To me, I'm pretty solid. Born between 65 and 80. The Gen Xperience, though, to me, and I probably should make a video about it, but the Gen Xperience isn't the formidable years. To me, formidable is I'm a baby with a soft skull and I'm trying to develop things like speech and walking. Those are formidable. The influential years, when marketing spoke to us, that is when we turn on our experience. Now, my Gen Xperience is probably most likely 76. I'm going to 77. I say 77. Truly begins in 77. That's me personally, because I think what it is, you got to get by the baby developmental before you're like, oh, I want that thing. And that's cool to me. And they're talking to me on the commercial. So the Gen Xperience, it is different for anyone. It's still within the people of 65 to 80. And that's why if I was born in 1980, which I wasn't, if I was born in 80, 81 are the millennials, but they're still a Gen Xperience for the people born in the 80s, and it goes to, as Angelo said, it kind of is when you're past teenage, when things have happened in your teenage world, and it's all variable, of course, but the Gen Xperience is after formidable. It's the influential years. It's our young, where everything's influencing us before we become the person we are now. And it really doesn't change much after 20. So you're kind of, things change, but you are kind of that person. So that is how I consider the experience. It is different for everyone, but the Gen Xperience is anyone in that time period, and it's after those formidable developmental baby stage up until your teenagers years.
That's very interesting. Music kind of falls into a similar parallel to all of it, to the pop culture. How much did we listen to older music? And now you look at the young, I work at a university. So, most of the people I see are in their early 20s or late teens. They're still listening to music that was popular in the 80s.
Why do you think that is, Jim? Honestly, why do you think that is?
I think, honestly, I think that modern music is computer generated. I don't think there's any soul in it.
It's CGI.
You look
the same.
You look at music from the 80s, and it was a wide spectrum. Anything was fair game. It was
experimental, and nothing was identical.
You could have Julio Iglesias singing a duet with Willie Nelson, for crying out loud, and it was acceptable. Yeah. And and the next thing you know, I was a metalhead. Okay, Van Halen nut over here. Nickname was Jimmy Van Halen, but I listened to just about anything that was out there. So
that gives hope.
I didn't listen to country music, even though I'm from Texas.
You got that twang, though. Kids today,
I didn't know if there's a parallel here.
Well, I think so, but I think you're reaching onto something new. There's hope for young people. When I see today, they are listening to music from the 70s and 80s. And that's because today's music all sounds identical.
Yes,
it's identical. They let you be free last time. Remember the DJs when we were young? They would play whatever. Someone came in and gave you a disc and $20 said, play this. That doesn't happen today. So that world is also gone. So now it's just, make it like this. We'll put it out there. And I Taylor, popular as she is, as huge as she is, influential and rich as she is, there's so many other musicians that are just like her music style, because that's how they produce her to be. But everyone was free to be a little bit something else. So I'd like to do more music shows, by the way, Jim. It would be nice. I thought about that first day of MTV. I've thought about those wonderful videos that stick with us, because videos are what? Videos are an afterthought now. They're not even important.
And I want to, now that you said that, I want to ask Greg. Greg, what kind of music do you listen to, brother?
I listen to a wide variety, but mostly indie, soul, rap, R&B, just whatever Spotify recommends me. And kind of parallels or goes into my question is that, or not question, but notice something that I noticed is that I think a lot of the creatives today are playing into the algorithms. Whatever, they're no longer allowed to be free to experiment with whatever creative juices they have. They have to be shackled to appeasing an AI generated algorithm. So
I think our world is that. Greg made a good point where we're all slaves to an algorithm, are we not? Here on YouTube, we're all slaves to it somewhat. And I do think those creative people, they're held back. Even if they're fantastically creative, they are held back. So that's a good point. But we didn't have that. Even 90s music, it still was original. It still was original. I blame everything after 2001, by the way. So everything was ruined.
It was interesting last week when we had Daryl DePriest on, and he was talking about when he was working for Hasbro. And we were talking a little bit about the ham hand GI Joes that came out, and their hands were really big, and he didn't like it, and he was trying to explain to them how this really wasn't the way that we wanted to go with it. And they're like, this is the way it's going to be. It's this way or none at all. And it's interesting, like you're saying, we are all victim to, how far can we actually go? Someone else is always dictating how things are done.
That's sad. That's all sad. It's just sad.
It is.
I'll put our heads down and cry.
But that's why we have to be
on the show often.
That's why we have to be the ones who break that mold. We have to be the ones who are creative. We are the ones who have to try to be different. I teach 5th grade, and I try to instill that in my students. Be different. I says, why do you want to be the same? And in just a little piece, I try to send them off with that. To think about it, says we are not cookie cutters. We are individuals. Don't be the same. I'm just going to throw this out there. We were doing it was PARP. It was a reading program we had for this month, and the theme was superheroes. And every teacher was to decorate their door. Every single teacher decorated their door almost identical because they went on. They went on Pinterest. They all went on Pinterest, and they found. And they all had these backdrops of a cityscape, and they all had their little superhero kids with their picture. And then other things said, or a book that you really enjoyed reading. Well, I was reading The Water Horse to the kids, and the kids loved that. So you know what we did? I drew this big dragon water horse. The kids painted it, and they put it on the door. We made it out of cardboard, and they ripped paper and made it all different colors, and it was theirs. And it was different. And teacher would come by and said, well, that's not superhero. I said, you know what? It's a book that we read and the kids loved it. Be yourself, be original, do the things. Don't do it because someone else is. Anyway, that's my soapbox.
No, that's great. I loved it. Thank you. And you're right.
Yeah. I got one for you, Victor. Could you tell us maybe your favorite experience of the 80s?
Oh,
maybe a visit to a theme park.
Yeah, we want to know.
Friday night
that's huge.
Friday night with A&W and a drive-in.
We had a Tasty Freeze just down the block, and we'd go barefoot. And those are good times to just brother, sister, change from mom, dusk, we're down there. So there's so many tons like that along with what we're saying is hard to do for kids today. But there's just too many, Mike. That's crazy. So if you funnel that down to a great 80s toy experience, I can probably do that. Because I love Friday nights and Blockbuster, the great, but even before that, just good times, free from shackles of technology. So that's an overarching. But may I share a story? My favorite story of getting a toy in the 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you need to
be a typical question that Paul asked. Yeah, so that fits right.
It's hard to do the 80s one, just in general. So good. It was so good. I loved every minute of it. So I remember I went to, it was called Payless. It was not a shoe store. Payless was a drugstore in my hometown. And my mom went, and being the youngest, and a lot of kids are older, I did get, like, hey, she'll splurge a little more on me, right? So we go to the store, and she's like, oh, you can pick a toy. A very common phrase back then. We were not spoiled at all. There's a ton of kids. So like, you can pick a toy. So I'm going down the toy aisle. And at the time I really wanted He-Man toys. And I wasn't seeing what I wanted, or I wasn't seeing anything new. I went over to the girl aisle, and I saw She-Ra for the first time. So He-Man's Twisted, she's there. She's debuted. She's not even a cartoon yet. She's there. But I was reading magazines, and I picked her up, and I said, oh, I want this. I swear to God, my mother was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. And I went, this is He-Man's twin sister. And she's like, okay. So we took this beautiful pink box to the counter. And I swear to God, my mother was like, stand right there, pass it through. I mean, I just remember, didn't even care. I was like, I need her to be with He-Man. So it's such an experience. It didn't matter to me. I don't know what the checkout lady in my mom's eyes were doing. I was like, just give me the damn doll. Action figure. So yeah, she was just another action figure to me. I didn't even consider that. She just needed to be part of it.
And that was important. And it didn't matter to you. What mattered was the fact that it was a character from the He-Man, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
I didn't think of her that way. I think I felt it from my mom, but like in an inkling. But then I was like, no, this has to be. I have to, because.
I've got one real quick question for you here, Victor. What's your favorite movie made between 1980 and 1989?
Blade Runner.
Wow.
Okay, why?
100% Blade Runner. What? Got mine. The only Funko I like, I hate, really do not collect Funko. And, so I was like, so I represent, that's how I collect. I call it, I represent my favorite franchises made famous in the 80s. There's a little late 70s. So every one of them is a bit different. How I represent each is different up here on the shelf. But when it came to like, because Alien is my second. Alien with Sigourney Weaver. They're tied for my favorite movies of all time. But Blade Runner is just gorgeous. So when it came to collecting, there was no toys made on the original run of that movie. You can find modern figures, but they're done very much like classified. And I was like, no, I don't want to do the same. Okay, I'll just go with the Funko for that. So Blade Runner is art. Blade Runner is gorgeous. Blade Runner is a story that if it's on, I'm just going to watch it.
So what do you think about the sequel?
I didn't mind it. I will say that my theater played it at a blood-curdling high volume. My ears were bleeding, but it wasn't bad. I will not say it was totally bad. I really liked the role of Ryan and Joy. I did. There were some stretches, but all new movies stretch too fucking far. They are too long. That is a complete waste to me. I didn't mind the storyline. It wasn't too convoluted, so I'm one of the few that may like it. You?
Oh man, favorite movies. I've got too many of them. So I would probably say if I put it in that time period, 80 to 89, it'd have to be Empire Strikes Back, or
that would have been
with Raiders of the Lost Ark. One of those.
If I was gonna go with the common, those are next. Empire's fantastic. Yeah. Empire is like, I think it was like when I saw Empire. Yeah, but yeah, that's true. That's kind of different, Jim, though, because you're asking. At the time, when I was in 1980, it's Empire. Today, films made in the time, it's Blade Runner. Good question, though. Mike, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, what's your preferred cut of Blade Runner?
That's tough. I can answer that really quick with Alien because I like just the extended directors. I want all of it. Yeah. But with Blade Runner, so I just do it. Do I like the narration or don't I?
Right.
That's what I kind of consider. And they're both equally good. I kind of like the narration, but I do not miss it when I don't see it. So amazingly, I am not bothered by that. The narration does. I'm a huge Turner Classic Movie fan too. So I don't know. I've got the Universal Monsters as well down here. Yep. Huge old movie fan. So I do notice the noir, and I don't mind the talking over. It reminds me of Humphrey Bogart. So it's hard to say. I will watch both equally. I will say I will choose the extended version of Alien. The director's cut.
Paul, can you talk with your mic, or I just want?
I don't know. Can I?
Yeah, you're good. We can hear you.
You just can't see me, right?
No, we
No,
can
we can
see
see
you.
it.
Everything's
really?
fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
The
everything's fine.
videos, yeah, video's there, but there's a little bit of lag. But you're coming in loud and clear right now.
Yeah.
Maybe the gremlins will let me talk a little bit before they.
Yeah, there you
destroy my
go.
internet
Why
again.
don't you go through your list because you haven't much.
No, I'm
haven't
saving
said-
all my internet for the trivia questions
Oh,
at the
trivia,
end.
yeah.
Oh, great.
I'd rather
That's
you have.
where-
Forget about that.
That's where we were hoping you were going to blank out. But
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
sure you were, but sorry, man. I planned a special one for him tonight. So
Oh,
I
man.
listened to one of you guys do a trivia, and I remember listening, going, "That's hard," and I'm not sure I can answer these.
Oh,
You guys have been great. I do appreciate this time. These questions are cool. It's nice to talk about it. It'd be great to talk more about it. Like I said, I do collect GI Joe, the classified. I had original 3 3/4. I have no original toys left except for the very first Transformer my mother bought me. So I do have Hoist the tow truck, but that's the only one I kept. What I did instead was, as modern versions came out, I pick and chose what modern take on the new that I wanted. And they all have a very strict. Why do I pick Origins Master of the Universe? Because I got He-Man and Skeletor in Christmas '81. That is prior to their official release. So I had the toy. They need to look like the toy. So there is this very specific anal kind of thing of how I collect. And the only ones original are Mask at the bottom because they never modernized them. So I got the whole collection there. Yeah, so I love chatting about it, but could chat longer about it. So thank you.
dude, I'm just happy
for
you
coming on.
made it to the show. We're tired of Angelo talking about flocking all the time. And, Jim
I got a
Egner
little
3D printing. You know, that kind of gets old after a while. So we need some flavor in here. We need some flavor, man. So
Well, remember my channel, not just toys, although
that's
it's got
what I love
toys.
about your channel, man.
It's
Dude,
gonna
I'll
have
tell you
other-
what hooked me on your channel was that I was scrolling through 80s
the
cartoons
sword,
and I was
sorcery, and
like,
sex. No,
and I'm like, wait, my internet just went out again. What? No, it was the cartoons of the 80s, man. Part 1 and part 2, I think. And I was just like,
the ones that jump the shark, the ones that are like when
dude,
sitcom,
I was just like, oh my God, I remember sitting and eating cereal watching that
Yeah.
shit, you know, it was
when
just great.
sitcoms became cartoons. Although I watched them, it was a mind F because I'm like, why are Laverne and Shirley in a cartoon?
Yep.
Happy Days.
Why-
Oh yeah.
The Happy Day, the
Mr.
Dukes,
T.
and the Dukes, they did both sets of boys. They did I'm like, that's a mind up there. You had both sets of the boys on the cartoon. So it was weird. But
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we ask you? What was your favorite cartoon?
so prior to so in the 80s, it was the Transformers. I started seeing He-Man, but Transformers was when I think back to the 70s, there were so many. I loved Scooby-Doo very much, but I also liked sci-fi. So I really did enjoy sci-fi cartoon. Thundar the Barbarian. These things, sadly, 1 and 2 seasons, that sucks.
Right.
They were shafted because there was some good story in Thundar. There's some good story, but it needed to expand. It needs today to take it, and somebody needs to rein it in and pull it back and get us back into that. So
How about Johnny Quest?
loved it, obviously, in reruns. It then was rebooted, which I didn't like the modern look. So I loved it when I caught the original because it has the G.I. Joe look, does it not?
Right.
Like the backgrounds and the frog guys and I love Venture Brothers. So I like some modern
Oh, yeah.
cartoons that
Yeah.
really pulls from that. So yeah, and Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Harvey Birdman. So I love when they've taken these classics and they revisit them on Cartoon Network. So good stuff. But I watched anything. I watched the live action crap on Saturday morning, whatever was on next, whatever I felt like. If that I hated that, moved to another station. Just sat there alone in the dark with cereal and just watched them all till the news came on, and then I was out the door.
Right.
What
Exactly.
What about the original Filmation live action Ghostbusters? Did you watch that back in the day?
I do remember it. I thought it was I was one of those kids that if I was turned off by the look of something, like I was maybe over the top cheesy. I didn't get it. I was like, this is I don't like it. I'd watch it and say, I can't watch this. I'm changing the channel. Yeah, totally. I don't know. So wasn't a big fan of that.
You remember this one? I know it was on one of your
Yeah.
videos.
And
I love this
So
one, man. I love
Ark
this
was
one.
great. When you look at those ones, Ark's one of the better. I would watch Shazam all the time, but Ark was a better show.
Yeah.
Shazam was superhero, but Ark was a better show.
Yeah.
I guess I like post-apocalyptic. Thundar, Ark.
Yeah, it was kind of like a cross between Planet of the Apes and
Planet of the
adventure
Apes.
team, vehicle and
I
everything.
guess I'm loving when the Earth gets destroyed and we have to do something.
Start all over again.
Start all
Oh.
over.
Hey, Victor, I want to ask you real quick. The Vamp, did you get the new Vamp for the classified?
No, I did not. So the Vamp is, hold on. The Vamp, I have to remember what it's shaped like. I'm trying to remember that one.
It's almost like a Humvee. It's like a smaller version.
It comes with somebody, doesn't it?
It comes with clutch.
Clutch.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, is that the clutch vehicle?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, but I want clutch, but I'm not a super vehicle. I have the 2 motorcycles.
Yep.
And then Scrap Iron came with this missile. But when it comes to the vehicles, I'm like, oh my God, do I start that? Do I start the vehicles, Angelo?
It's smaller. Well, that was nice about the Vamp. It was smaller. And when they were doing the pre-order, it was only $100. And I'm like, I had to jump on that. It's great. I remember having the one from
clutch
from the 80s, and clutch was great. And I mean, but people are charging like $50 for clutch by himself. So like, no.
Yeah, I might have to do it. I missed something the other day. Mattel Creations comes, so they're now doing Origins online. So I got my one figure the other day, but then Transformers. No, who was it? I'm getting them all confused. Mattel. I missed somebody, and I was PO'd. I went back in and was like, missed it.
Gone.
Didn't even know it was happening. But yeah, that's tougher these days. Is you got to be there, and I'm online, like ready, go.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you got the guys who buy like a dozen of them just so
and
they
you
can
see them
resell.
immediately online.
Dude, I saw that at Toylanta with the 4 Horsemen. I guess they came out with a bunch of new figures. People were lined out the door for the 4 Horsemen figures. I don't collect that scale, so I it means nothing.
$40-$50 a pop.
Oh yeah, and people were buying 10 of them
and blowing them out. Yeah.
And I just want to buy it for me.
That's exactly. I don't need 10.
No.
I'd like to get 2. One I could play with.
Yeah.
And then the other
let
one.
me tell you, 4 Horsemen were prepared for it because they were like stocked.
Oh yeah, we saw the video, Paul, that you had, and
we could all talk about the future of the toy business. That would be a great time to talk to all of you about the future.
I did talk to Michael French last week or this past weekend, and he admits, that the collectors are making the best stuff. It's not Hasbro anymore. It's not Hasbro anymore. It's not Mattel. It's not all the companies. Pretty soon those guys are going to go.
There
away.
it is. That is. I loved what you were saying about that, Mike. About that, what the fans want.
Yeah, it's what the fans want.
See now,
classified's great, but
they had a rough start, didn't they?
Yeah. They based it on like a Fortnite knockoff video game. Not even the first 6 figures were based on like video game designs, but yeah, a big portion of the Real American Hero guys would want something like this,
like
just
that.
Yeah, O-ring construction, new characters.
I would want the Bullet Man for my 1/6 scale figures so they can have their bicycle, and I can do a little cartoon of them with their bicycle pulling Bullet Man from behind with a rope.
Like
Victor, you don't know that story. That's my story of Bullet Man's revenge. When
everybody in the chat room's heard it 20 times, but go ahead if you want to do it again.
I didn't like Bullet Man. He was not a Joe. All the defenders of Bullet Man.
Though.
Sorry, man. Bullet Man was not a Joe.
This is where we hope his internet cuts out, but
or you make it cut out.
Yeah,
I can do that. I can't do that.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a connection problem.
But we need 6 people or 5 people for the trivia.
All right,
everybody gets one.
Ready for trivia.
We're getting to the top of the hour, Victor. I don't know. This is an hour show because it's a school night for Angelo. He's got to get to bed early. So
it's true.
My internet, you guys just let me know if my internet cuts out. I could care less about my face, but if you guys can't hear me, it's not going to make sense. Once again, I apologize to everybody in the chat room. I can't even get the chats up, so I'm just lucky to be floating here. So, but we're definitely going to get you back on, Victor, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
We'll pick a different topic and we'll go with it. So
yeah, that'd be cool. Getting a topic to discuss. That'd be great.
Yep. So here's how we do the game. The trivia. We start at the top left. Yeah, Bullet Man gets the first question, and then we go around. We go around the room 3 times. Everybody gets 3 questions,
right.
And the winner this week gets a box of Twinkies. So we are playing for big money
from 1992. Okay,
and if we were going post-apocalypse, then you're definitely going to still have Twinkies.
So it's not true or false, Angelo. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for you this week, Jim. Am I in or out?
You're in. Go ahead. Okay. Ask away.
Everybody's quiet. When it goes quiet, I'm assuming I'm done.
We're all listening. We're all listening.
So I am gonna say a line from an 80s movie, and you guys are gonna tell me what movie it was. And they're not real hard. They should be fairly easy for most of you. If not, Victor's going to know them all, so he can just help you. All right. So
Just ready
we're going
take
to
my
Mike.
questions.
You got Dojo is first. Ready?
Mike's our movie buff too.
Yeah, I
And
know.
Filmaholic,
Have no problem with this.
I don't even know.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
The line is, "Go ahead, make my day."
Oh, well, I mean, I would assume it'd be. Is this just the 80s?
Yes, sir. From 1980 to 89.
Okay, so then
Clint.
Maximum Force. Is it Maximum Force?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I mean, Dirty Harry, I thought was in the 70s, so I failed.
Anybody?
Go ahead, film.
Well, I thought it was Dirty Harry.
Victor?
Well, who
Dirty
goes
Harry.
next? Who goes next?
Oh.
Greg?
Well, you go ahead.
If
Victor.
anybody
I
wants
said
it.
Dirty Harry,
Is
but
it
I don't
Sudden
know.
Impact?
Sudden Impact,
Oh,
1983.
there you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Oh.
But it is Dirty Harry that says it, right?
But it was Dirty Harry, and I was thinking
Okay.
Mike was going there because
Yes.
he knew it
Mhm.
wasn't Dirty Harry. He was like,
Yeah,
it's it's like Rambo, when everyone gets that
Mhm.
wrong, right? The second
yeah.
Gregorio, you're up. You got the easiest one. Wax on, wax off.
Oh, Karate Kid.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jim Egner. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Oh,
Oh
That's
yeah.
unfair.
You got me.
Come on, you're from Texas. Get the
That
bull.
doesn't matter.
I know what that one is.
Gregorio with his
Oh,
hand
you
up
got
first.
Breakfast Club.
It is 1985, The Breakfast
Oh
Club.
man.
Angelo, you got an easy one, although you probably never saw this movie. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I know what that is too.
Yes.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
That is a
Sir,
great movie.
1987.
Yeah.
A little bit harder one for our special guest
Oh,
tonight.
thanks a bunch.
I'm an excellent driver.
Oh, I know.
That's it. That's it. I'm an excellent driver. Can you say it like the character, please, Paul?
I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah, exactly how she said it.
Rain Man. Rain Man, thank you.
Rain Man.
In the back.
I was
Angela,
like, how am I
points
gonna-
for
how am I gonna do
Angela.
that without offending anybody?
Points for Angela.
All right, back to Mike.
Yes, sir.
Say hello to my little friend. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Gonna be Scarface.
You need
That
a little
is
cocaine for that.
1983. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my dad. Fun fact: my parents are from Jersey, and we are in Florida because my dad used to run with some big cocaine dealers. So
Okay.
FBI will be coming knocking at your
Right.
door now, Mike.
Exactly. Too much information tonight, but we'll go.
he
Greg, you're
he
up.
passed away. Statute of limitations.
Greg and Victor, you cannot help him with this one. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain.
I'm gonna say Blade Runner. That's my
That is
favorite quote from that
1982
movie.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Gorgeous.
Jim Egner, probably another hard one for you. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I know this too. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Nah, you got me.
No.
Nah, I'm giving up.
No.
No.
It could be a husband-wife team tonight.
Dadgummit.
I know this. I'm sitting here blanking on the title.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's
All right, Angela. Let Angela guess, Jim.
she's drawn.
Gremlins. I don't know.
Oh, no, it's not Gremlins. 1986 film.
I think it's Be Afraid, dude.
Shit.
Victor's Googling it down there.
No, I'm not. I'm totally not. But I'm trying to. I know the line. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Oh,
Exactly. It's how it's said, too.
86.
Nobody?
somebody's saying it in the thing. Somebody's saying it in the
Wait,
chat.
what was the line again?
It makes me
I don't know.
wanna-
I can't.
It makes
What?
me want
Fly.
to think Predator, but it's not.
The Fly.
The
Fly.
Fly.
Hmm.
That was
Angelo, you're up.
All right.
Like Indiana Jones or something.
Carpe diem, boys. Seize the day. Make your lives extraordinary.
Whoa.
Jim Egner, you need to silence your mic because we hear
I'm
your wife.
sorry.
No, it's not. That's fine. Let her. You got to get her.
It's not your printer, it's your wife.
Bullet Man.
Patch Adams? No,
No.
no. It was one with. All right,
Yes,
go
it
ahead.
was. Yes, you are correct. It
I
did have
know.
Robin Williams in it.
Robin Williams. I'm
Dead
drawing a
Poet
blank.
Society, right?
Dead-
You are correct, sir.
Good. Dead Poet.
Dead,
Yep.
1989, Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
Easy one for Victor on this round. Life moves pretty fast if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Ferris Bueller.
Mr. Ferris
Day
Bueller,
off.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Last round, gentlemen.
Everyone wanted to be Ferris.
Oh yeah, at least for a day.
Yep.
Yes.
Last round, back to Mike. It's 106 miles to Chicago. We've got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Jim knows.
Blues Brothers.
Yep.
Yes, sir. 1980 Blues Brothers. I love this movie, but Greg, you may not have seen this movie. I never had friends later on in life. The ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anybody?
I actually don't recognize that one.
I didn't think so, but it's a classic.
Is it Stand By Me?
It is 1986. Stand By Me. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Awesome.
I know the
love
movie, but I
that.
guess I've never seen
Great
it.
last line.
Oh, it's great. You got to watch that, Greg. It's a great one.
Jim Egner. Snap out of it. That's the line. That's the line. I wasn't saying slap out of it.
Moonstruck.
It is
Oh, nice.
Moonstruck. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. La Bella Luna.
He's looking at me like, fuck you. I'm the man. Another easy one. Hey, Dad, you want to have a catch?
Oh, that's an easy one.
I just watched the last 2 nights.
Field of Dreams.
Okay.
You helping Angelo now?
No.
Just answer.
All right. Victor, last one to you. I won't be ignored, Dan.
I'm gonna say. Oh God, I hope we get the name. Fatal Attraction.
It is Fatal Attraction.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
The Bunny Rabbit.
The Bunny Rabbit. That's what I think of.
The Bunny
And
Rabbit.
this
I'll
bonus
never
question
forget
goes out
that.
to anybody that wants it. You get 5% discount at Home Depot if you say you're part of the Axis of Awesome, if you get this one right. What 1982 movie made Vans shoes famous?
For
Made
anybody?
fans choose famous.
This is a bonus question. Whoever comes up with the answer first. Vans. the
Fast
Vans-
Times at Ridgemont High.
Ridgemont High.
There
Fast
you go.
Times at Ridgemont High. Yes, sir. So
Very nice. Good job.
Got to
All right,
order
Mike,
pizza.
you won the Twinkies. All right, that's awesome.
yeah. Mike got the Twinkies tonight, man.
Nice. Woohoo.
Hey, once again, I want to thank everybody. I want to apologize to everybody in the chats. This has only happened twice. Hopefully, it won't happen again, but it's my internet, I'm sure. Victor, are you still there? Do you still hear me?
I totally do. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to try to bring you up big, and this is your chance to plug your channel, plug anything you want, Instagram, YouTube,
Woo.
Facebook, whatever you got.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here at the Man Cave. I'm glad I was here. This is Victor from the Gen Xperience saying, catch my show every Friday. The next one, Super 70s Sci-Fi Saturday mornings. Some great cartoons we all remember. And also Collection 82, some graphic designs mashing up that same period. Or check my brand new YouTube store with the same crap. Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Dude, that was like a
Nice.
professional.
That was a perfect advertisement. You see that? That was like he practiced that.
Can you run my show from now on? Can you run my show from now on, and I'll just be a panel member?
You'll just be the face.
Yeah.
Victor, do you have merch or anything like that?
I do. So the YouTube store is open with the Gen X experience and some random stuff. I have tons of merch on Redbubble for Collection 82, but some of that stuff is getting pulled over into the YouTube store since it's the same. It's the same genre. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Paul, there's the next thing.
Yep.
We got the dog tags. Now you got to
Yes.
make little shirts for GI Joe 1/6 scale. Then you can make
that'd
big
be
ones.
adorable.
We can make big ones for us. Wait, you got it going on. Uh-oh.
I'm losing internet, guys. We're gonna say goodbye tonight.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys.
Great to see you all. Great to be on the show. Thank
for
you.
being on.
Thanks you, Victor.
Nice meeting you
Awesome.
as well.
Thanks, buddy.
See you
Take
again.
care, everyone.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye.